Welcome, everybody. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And today, to help me with that, I have some of the amazing authors of a new book called Sacred Medicine, Mystical Practices for Ecstatic Living, here with me to celebrate. But first, I really got to say a thank you to Jen Piceno. So Jen, thank you for your mission and your vision for this book. We wouldn't be here without you. This collection of badassery in terms of authors and words is amazing. So I wanted to really shout Jen out first, but welcome you guys. What's happening? How you doing?
Great.
Good morning. To be here.
I'm so happy to have you guys. Listeners, I have Lynn Oliveri with me. She's a master hypnotist and a nationally acclaimed educator. Her expertise ranges broadly from helping women connect to their sensuality to assisting organizations to improve their business through inside out change. I also have Darby Ryan with me. She's an adventurer, storyteller, and authenticity coach. And Doug Reardon is a sound and energy healing practitioner, recording artist, and co-owner of Nature Spirit Drums, along with his husband. You guys, are you feeling the power I got in this room today? I hope so.
Right there.
Absolutely.
I'm honored to be here with you guys. This is amazing.
We're going to have some fun. Okay, Lynn, you're starting us off. Talk to us about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Well, you know, when I heard sacred medicine as the topic, I had to look within myself and say, because I do so many things that are mystical and so many things that help people. But for me, what was sacred was the time when I found myself going through menopause and feeling like I was really missing something, like missing a piece of my life, blaming myself, and just being shut down. So this story is the story of me reconnecting to the fact that I wasn't broken. And so many of my clients go through the same thing where they feel like they're broken or they blame themselves just for their sensuality being turned down at a time in their life when things might be changing. So the whole purpose of this was to give people a bit of hope, a hope that something different can happen, and it can happen in conjunction with maybe what they're doing medically, but it's also going to give them an opportunity to use their minds to connect to their bodies and really just feel better.
Okay, you may not expect me to back you up to menopause, but I'm doing it. So tell me what was that piece?
Well, I've been very active all my life. And right now, that was when I was 50. I'm 57 now. And I just felt like all my effort was on my business and my relationship with my husband, no matter how hard I tried to bring the zazzle and the pizzazz and the juiciness and the yumminess and that, it just wasn't there. And I work in both travel and in all these other fields, but I do a lot of retreat leading. And I got the impulse that the answer was going to be in Cambodia. So on an impulse, I ended up booking a ticket to Cambodia, taking a girlfriend with me to, explore temples and things like that. But you'll have to read the story to get that whole scoop. Shockingly, just the general environment gave me a chance when I really felt like I was at my wit's end. I was dried up. I was broken. I didn't feel like a woman who was worth anything anymore. And I was blaming myself. And through the use of this mind-body process, I started to get it back, and it got better each and every day. And there's kind of the boom moment where it just happens. And it can happen like that for everybody. So that's really the good news.
That is good news. And essentially, so let me just say thanks to all of you for stepping up to say yes to this project and for doing two amazing things, in my opinion. One is you're sharing these personal, authentic stories with people to help them understand who you are. And, I kind of say it like, well, who are you, Lynn, to tell me what to do about my menopause? Well, you've been there.
Yeah.
and you can share, and you guys did this so beautifully, so thank you. You really brought your authentic stories, and then you're offering tools as well. So we wanted to leave you readers with the ability to have an experience through the chapter. And so, Lynn, tell me just a little bit more about that medicine. What was, something that you offered in the chapter?
Right. So I work as a hypnotherapist, and I help people really plug into their emotions in their body. We can feel like if we're in a cycle of telling ourselves we're not worthy and suffering, we relive that. Like we make the hormones that make us relive the pain, the not good enough, just the punishing ourselves cycle. So in this chapter, it's called Mind Bath. It's a sensual reconnection. And this is what I started. This gave me a little bit of hope while I was in menopause. But this mind bath process is hypnotic. And you can do it by reading it, or there's actually a link in the chapter where you can click in and there's a hypnotic recording, because usually how I work is through recording. So you can read it, you can experience it, you can see if it's something you might like to get the idea of, because as you put ideas into your mind, your body can start to respond. So what I'd invite everyone to do is to just give it a listen, read the chapter, see if it resonates for what you're working on or feeling like you need. And if you like the content, get in a comfortable position. My recording will guide you into trance, which is a natural state. Everyone goes into trance all the time. And I suspect trance is actually a golden thread in a lot of the medicine we're delivering through the book. So it's an invitation to experience it, to see if it helps you, to try to connect. It involves engaging all of your senses, engage your sensuality.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Darby, it is your turn. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Well, mine is chapter 10, and it's called Sacred Vulnerability, Moving Through Fear and into Courage. And the story that I picked is actually one that probably occurs on a daily basis for everybody. I picked one that was very, again, it was something that each one of us goes through differently. It was a position where I was, I'll be really short with it, but I was invited to my son-in-law's birthday party, which was a surfing birthday party. And I was the only senior going. So I had in my head, I had created a story that I needed to show up in a certain way to be accepted by this group of younger people. And it didn't go my way. So that's really what it was about. But it was the bottom line was the universe had given me an opportunity to be there and to show my vulnerability and to be able to step up and ask for help. And I didn't do it. So I had realized afterwards what I had done, but it's, being vulnerable, one of the definitions of it is that you're capable for emotional wounding. And that's what happened. And so I went into it with this story that I could get wounded, and I didn't step up to the plate. So I don't want other people to do that and go through that. So I had to step back and ask myself some questions about, how could I have handled this differently for the next time? So I can, work through this process.
I loved the scene that you gave us, and you all write so beautifully. But Darby, I was feeling it. I really was. I was resonating both with the theme of it, but also in your scene, feeling it. And I think there are a lot of us who close down the asking for help because why? Tell me more about that.
Well, really, it kind of boils down to we're all looking for love, right? And we're all looking for appreciation. And so we create these stories, and then we believe those stories to be true. So it was like, we feel that we have to show up in that manner. And so we go into what's called a falsehood, like a false persona. We end up putting on this face that here's who I am. And so I'm showing up this way, but it's not true to our inner self. And it's when we need to step out and show that vulnerability and be able to ask for help. I think I've heard you talk about it before. It's like the universe is always there giving you opportunities to work through this. And when you don't work through it, the opportunities get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's really about, we're looking externally for appreciation and for support and love, but that's not where it comes from. It's all comes from inside of us, the internal love.
Yes. I want to add one thing too. What is that thing where, you need help, and now guess what? Attention is all on you.
Mhm.
And attention was supposed to be on, the birthday girl or boy that day. But all of a sudden you realize tension's going to be all on you. And there's that moment. Now I'm going to just flip into my own self for a minute, thinking about, oh no, attention's not supposed to be all on me, because then that makes me fill in the blank with your inner critic. Right? So what was that for you?
Oh my gosh, it would totally was that. I mean, now here I was thinking, I guess I can get into it a little bit because you guys are going to read it anyways, but it's it's where the inner critics exactly is what happened. It started hitting me that, oh no, I'm supposed to be the caregiver here. I'm the mother. I'm not supposed to be the one who needs help. And so this story was going over and over and over in my head. And because of that, I got more and more afraid, and I was shutting down more and more, and we've talked about we're all energetic bodies, right? And so we have our chakras, and I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to be loved. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't portray who they are expecting me to be here, then I'm never going to be invited again, or I'm never going to be asked again. And so I was looking for that approval with it. So it's really, I had to step back and observe my behavior during that and try to figure out, what is it that, why is it that I was so afraid? And it was being afraid of not being accepted and being loved. So again, we need to go internally. I'm just going to read real quick. A quote from my chapter is, by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and looking deeply at our fear, we can release the created persona, the false image of who we have created ourselves to be. We can relax and then surrender to our authenticity. And that's what it's about. It's about being authentic, being who you are when you're there.
Nice.
In those situations.
Thank you, Darby. So Doug, your turn. Let's hear about your chapter.
Okay, I wrote chapter 13. It's titled Healing Sounds, Vibrations for Your Body and Soul. It probably should be more vibrations for your soul, because I don't focus on the body as much. There's a lot of literature out there that talks about the science of sound healing. But I wanted to really focus on experiences and emotional experiences that people have had at our sound healings. I start off our story. It's our story rather than my story, because I'm writing on behalf of both my husband and I, and our business, Nature Spirit Drums. And so I gave a little bit of background on who we are and how we got to this point in our life. We've been together for 37 years this year, proudly. And we suffered through the 80s and the AIDS crisis. And we lost pretty much all of our friends. We stopped going to funerals because it was just too much. And I speak just a little bit about the fact that I lost my mother from suicide when I was 12 years old. So I wanted to give just a little bit of background on us. And then I go in more depth into personal experiences that people have during our sound healings and how they have affected them. I guess that's about it.
Yeah,
as far
beautiful.
as the story.
So I've had some experiences with sound healing, enough to know that this is profound sacred medicine. And I want to know actually now from all of you, but so Doug, I'm sticking with you for this, okay? So, we think of medicine and we have whatever thoughts we have about what that means. And so all of us, grew up being taught what that was supposed to be. And we had doctors, or we had this, or we had that. But here we are putting the word sacred in front of it. So I really want to know, Doug, from you first, what does that mean to you? Why sacred, and what's your sacred medicine? I know sound healing has been some sacred medicine for me.
Well, the tools that we teach, and I have two tools in my chapter, and one is how to use a drum to drum over someone, and
drum over someone. Tell me what that means, even.
Okay, that's for them to experience the vibration, the healing vibrations of the drum. They can be seated, lying down, standing up. We've had profound experiences with people where they initiated just through the vibration of the drum. I also talk about how to use rattles to clear spaces.
Nice. So you guys know that I'm messing with you when I say, what does that mean, right? I've had all these experiences. And so sometimes we're so in our magic that we don't even know, right? I want you guys to understand, the listeners listening for the first time and they've never been drummed over. So so instruments played right over your physical body and allowing the vibration. So I'll let you continue.
I was just going to say, close enough that they can feel that vibration.
Yes.
And have that affect every chakra of their body. What will happen is the drum will change tones as you move up through the body. And if there's a certain chakra that's blocked or a certain issue, either physical or emotional, the drum tone will change, and you just keep drumming in that area until it goes back to the normal sound and clears the area that's affected by whatever the issue. And it's not important for the practitioner to even know what the client's issue is.
So drums only, or do you use other instruments too?
We use just about everything. As you can see, I've got gongs behind me and chimes, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, flute, Native American style flutes, a plethora of instruments.
And voice?
Yes, I do chant. And we advise everyone that comes to one of our sound healings that there's no right or wrong way to receive this. If you want to move. If you want to sing, if you're compelled to whatever, just experience it fully, because everyone's experience is going to be unique and different.
Yes, I love it. This is one of those ones, right? So today we're going to hit so many topics where we're going to think, God, that needs to be a whole entire podcast, right? About that one subject, right? Sound healing feels like that to me. Thank you, Doug. Lynn, how about you in terms of sacred medicine?
When I heard you ask the question, I realized I jumped right in and forgot one of the most important things. Clients come to see me with sexual dysfunction. They come to see me because they're not having good sex. They're not having orgasms, men and women. And the beauty of this is that because we connect the mind and the body through trance, I can evoke and teach people to have orgasms without physical touch, which is medicine. That right there is medicine. If you think about what the biology that happens when people are in a ecstatic state, in a state of bliss and orgasm, that's giving you all the neurotransmitters in your brain that you need to live healthy. It's a healing state. It's a state of complete focus. So, I think it is truly magical and healing, and it is sacred for sure, because the body's sacred, the mind is sacred. And when I work with people and they invite me in to know them closely, and we work over Zoom like we're doing right now, it's not a touch thing. It's all about getting your mind aligned, getting the things that are blocking you out of the way, and allowing yourself to have the experience.
Okay, so wait, we just went from being drummed over to having a touchless orgasm. This is going to be my favorite interview so far. Yeah. So, okay. Again, like I love these questions and I love being able to have these conversations. So I don't know that I've experienced touchless except for when I was dreaming.
Right.
So what do you want
And
to say about that?
well, that is kind of proof how it works, by the way, because your subconscious mind is creating the sensations in your body. People with neurological spinal cord injuries can still have orgasms because it's created in the mind. Now, women more than men, but you see men in their dreams having orgasms all the time too. So all of it's possible. It's really, I mean, your brain is the biggest sex organ you have.
Well, and if this doesn't tie into kind of what you want in life in general, I don't know what does, right? So when you're starting there in a really powerful way, is there anything else you want to say about that?
Well, it's the whole philosophy is that you have a clear intention and then that elevated emotion, and your body's going to respond, your mind is going to respond, the universe responds. I mean, that's how we create. That is the formula for co-creation. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my goodness. So just speaking to our listeners again right now, you're going to really be amazed at the level of master teaching in this new book. And I think that we're giving such incredible gifts to, first of all, bring you all together in one place, because you know how that is where there's a lot of different kinds of people in the world. We all need to listen to things differently. I might hear something 10 times and the 11th person comes along and I hear it for the first time, right? So I appreciate you all for talking about these different things in your own unique way and your own unique voice, and then bringing those master teachings, the tools, is really pretty cool. I keep avoiding words like awesome and amazing, but I can't help myself. Darby, talk to me about this sacred medicine. What makes it sacred to you?
Well, sacred basically means it has a connection with source, right? And whether you call it source, whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, it's a connection with source. Medicine is actually a tool that we use to either treat or to help prevent imbalance in our lives or in our bodies, right? So that's where medicine comes in. So a sacred medicine is more like a tool from the universe to help us to come more into alignment with our authenticity of who we are. And so it's like, I know, Laura, you've mentioned before that your whole journey started because of some chest pain, right? And something that physically showed up in your body. And our bodies are energetic. We're all built of energy. And so we have the different chakras. And when something happens to help to close off a chakra or to block it, we tend to stifle that. And that, it could be, if I look back at my story, right? It's like I've been rejected before, and it could have started from my first crush, right? Where you go and you say, hey, I really like you. And they go, ew, go away. You have cooties. I don't want to be by you. So immediately you feel embarrassed, your heart hurts, and you close down a little bit of your heart. So that creates a block in the chakra. And then the next time that situation comes up, that's where the fear comes in, right? The fear is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go there again because last time I got heartbroken. And then we're continually, compressing and adding. It's almost like calcifying, right? We're creating that huge block in that chakra. And so but the universe is continually giving us opportunities to work past that. And that's where you need to step into your vulnerability, right? Is to step up and say, I've been hurt before, but I'm okay to, I'm ready to express my feelings. The secret is to not be attached to the outcome. That's the secret, right? You step into it, you say, I'm going to speak my word, but if I get rejected, it's okay, because it's not meant to be. So going back to, that's where the medicine comes in. And I think I've also heard you talk about Western medicine. With Western medicine, we can treat some of the symptoms, but we got to get to the root of the issue, which goes into, finding what it is that we've been pushing down and not letting it come through. So to me, that's that tool of coming into alignment. You know, when we get the energy flow back working, energy in and energy out is equal.
Yes, for sure. Sacred medicine, right? When we stop treating symptoms and start integrating mind, body, soul, spirit, environment, all the things to come to that place. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, y'all know I love these topics anyway. It's like, oh my goodness, we could just go and go. Okay, so Darby, I'm going to stay with you for this next question. I'm going to come around to all of you for this. But we used the word ecstatic in our book, in our title, ecstatic living, not just meh living, not just so-so living, not just, you know, walking around the world like a zombie kind of living, doing what we think we should do. So there was a point, and Darby hit on it a second ago, when my knowing inside that there was more to life was screaming, and that was that chest pain, and I hadn't been listening to the whispers. So they started to have to shout a little bit at me, and I paid attention at that point. But it's nice to understand the language and listen to the whisper. But I think that some of us have gotten really good at this suffering, and it's time to understand what's possible in terms of the joy and the, I'll say it, ecstasy, because it can be that good. So what do you want to tell us, Darby, about that ecstatic living?
Well, I think ecstatic living is personal to everybody. So everybody's version of it is a little bit different. But I think sometimes when we hear ecstatic, the first thing we go to is excited, right? We think about excited. Well, excited is kind of a raise in our energy. So it's where we're kind of feeling open and feeling lifted. And we can work and work and work towards a project, and then it comes through, and then we get excited and we feel really open about it. But then that is a temporary feeling. It goes away. So then we work harder and we work harder and we work harder, and we get that feeling of excitement again, and then it goes away. That is totally different than ecstatic living. Ecstatic, when you're feeling ecstatic, in my mind, you're much more grounded. It's about being peaceful. You still have that open joy, that open heart, but it's peaceful. And again, it's got that connection and that alignment with where you are in life. And it's like the difference is ecstatic is there forever. And it's a continued feeling within your body. And I had one other thing I was going to say about that. Oh, I know what it is. The whole thing is you don't work and work and work to become ecstatic. To become ecstatic, you release, you let go, you surrender. And that's when you come into alignment and you come into that authenticity of the true being of your true self, who you are.
Nice. I don't know that I've put peaceful and excited together before, but you're right. And it's solid and grounded, and it doesn't feel like it's going to go away, or it feels like I have access to it anytime I want versus not having control over it.
Exactly. It's almost like, I don't know if you ever watched the show, what was it called? Oh shoot, I just forgot the name of the show. The Good Life. So anyways, but it's where Chidi in the show said, it's where the air on the outside feels exactly like the same as the air on the inside, right? It's that peace, that full feeling of peace and fullness, but you're with everything, because everything's interconnected. Everything is interconnected.
So part of the reason we're here, you guys, is to help you understand what's possible. And so what you're listening to Darby talk about there is, I want you to open up your what's possible question to yourself, to life. And these authors have so many ways that they're going to show you different ways to get there. What is possible? What else is possible besides what I'm going through right now? Doug, can you talk a little bit about ecstatic living?
Oh my gosh, I think Darby really covered it well when she said that being ecstatic is being in alignment with everything around you, whether you call it God, source, universe, and really accepting yourself for who you are, and the way you experience it can be different all the time, even for yourself. It can come out in joy, it can come out in tears. I had an experience yesterday when I was driving in the car, and I heard Willie Nelson singing My Way. I get a lot of messages through songs, and I'm always singing. You can ask my husband, but I was singing in the car along with Willie Nelson, and the tears, I just started bawling while I was singing, and I didn't stop. And I felt such joy because the words spoke to me in a way that I knew I was living my authentic self. I knew it was telling me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And to me, that was truly being ecstatic, and yet it came out in tears. It could come out in laughter. It just feeling that open heart, that energy of everything around you. We experience it so much in nature. We recently moved to the mountains of Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia, and I don't think I've ever been as ecstatic as I am at this point in my life. I walk around with a smile on my face all the time, and I'm attracting more and more people with that smile. And to me, that is truly just living yourself and being ecstatic.
I love that you mentioned that the expression of that can be in tears or laughter, sometimes both.
Yeah.
Yes. But just giving that listener the idea that it's possible in all of those different emotions, right? Is there anything else you can say about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what your question was.
Well, I think a lot of the time we think that that super joy, that ecstasy is only gonna be through the happy rainbow good stuff, but sometimes you're moved and an expression of whatever that is in tears comes. And sometimes people, I think, get confused about that, but it can be both things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how to elaborate on that.
Well, then maybe I just said it. Did either of you want to say something else about that? Lynn or Darby?
Well, I agree that it can show up in different ways. And I think our body just functions in whatever way that it wants to present itself in that situation. So we know the feeling that's inside. And I think that's where the key is what we are feeling inside. And I'm very good friends with Doug, and I want to mention one of the things that I'm seeing coming from your ecstasy, Doug, is the creativity that's showing up for you right now. And I think that's one way that is really demonstrating and presenting how everything is in alignment for you right now. I mean, looking at everything that you've created on your new property and with your sound healings, and how the community is flocking to you without you having to do anything. That's about alignment, right? That's because you're in your true authenticity. You're who you are, coming true to yourself.
One more quick moment about the sound healing in general, and just when you experience a healing session where vibration is the modality, and I feel sometimes like I'm being washed out from the inside out by sound. And something I wanted to offer our listeners is that because I'm also an energy practitioner, physical therapist, myofascial release expert, what I know about this is that when you help people change the vibration in a place in the physical body where there has been stuckness, I'll just use that word for now, that can be physical, emotional, mental, it's usually all three together, coming into the body, creating a pain, right? And along comes Doug and his drum and he's drumming, and the vibration is moving in, around, and through my little stuck place in my shoulder or my back, or where, you know, we think of these things as our back pain or our shoulder pain or whatever it is. There's a shift and it's profound. And sometimes I feel like all of our job in the book, being authors, being teachers, is being a bridge for how to describe that to people who've never experienced it before. And so thank you all, because you're amazing in your ability to be able to do that and really understand or help people understand. I'm just going to repeat it, what's possible, you know? So Lynn, I want you to answer this question too. So ecstatic kind of living. I don't think you're going to have any problems answering this question.
Well, honestly, when I heard the topic, that I was like, oh, everyone's going to write about orgasm. But I mean, it was just like, of course, that's what else is there? But it's more than that, because what gets in the way are these blocks. And ultimately, you know, when I work through sessions with people, it's the feelings of not good enough. It's the feelings of not loving themselves, truthfully, or not feeling worthy of loving themselves. So there's emotional things and blocks that have to be removed, because ecstatic living, I think that Darby said it really well. It's not about excited living. It's about being in flow and being able to access your gratitude in every, like, full appreciation of every juicy moment that there is. So, you know, if I don't feel worthy of enjoying a beautiful peach that I'm going to eat, then I might not enjoy just the flavor and the juiciness and the fragrance and the fuzz on the, you know, it's like, just for even for eating to be sensual, you know. So it's, you know, I jumped in talking about orgasm, but really it starts with the everyday simple pleasures. And ecstatic living is having bliss and access to full gratitude for the real beauty and the vibration of everything that is in every moment, I think.
I love that so much. I was writing it down. Ecstatic living is being able to access your gratitude in any moment, all around you, no matter what is happening to you.
And being in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Foundational is that in the moment presence practice. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
And one of the things Lynn brought up is, you know, it's that when you're grateful for everything, that's coming from the inside, right? That's coming from our internal. When I talked before about excited, that's when we're looking for something external, something outside of ourselves for that joy. But if you think about, if you actually close your eyes and go to a place or a moment in time when you were so thrilled and, you know, something just made you feel booming with love. When you close your eyes, you can go back to that moment. And that's because that's what's inside of us, right? The external source is gone, but it's the internal. So the goal is to be able to see that in every moment and bring that out. And we have that capability to bring that out every moment. Thank you for that, Lynn. That was beautiful.
Thank you. You know, I like to think of it just as the well from inside keeps getting fuller. And as you practice ecstatic living in the simple things, like your well becomes more and more full to the point where you can just begin to share that effortlessly with others too. Just a little aside.
Yes, essentially, we're all in the practice of serving from the overflow, which is a pretty cool place to be in life, right? So, Lynn, I'm going to stay with you for moving into kind of this next one, because, you know, we're sitting here talking about ecstasy and bliss and joy and all the cool things, yet we've probably had one of the hardest year and a half time periods of our lives. And there are listeners who are still stuck, and they may have fallen in the pit a bit with all of this. And leaping to ecstasy doesn't seem possible. So what I want you to offer is, what's that foundational little stepping stone they can take if someone's listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I am not there, you know, how can I get there?
Exactly. And because you can't start there. And my story starts with simply feel a little bit better. Have hope that you can take one step to make you feel better, which proves to you that you can take another step to feel better, because you don't get from here to here. Well, you can, but most people don't. They have to slowly turn the boat, So yeah, it could be as simple as reading the chapter and saying, okay, I'll give it a try. I'm going to let go of judging myself as stuck in this position and allow myself to just imagine what could be possible, or to imagine that I can feel a little better if I can be out of pain for a moment. And then I can be out of pain for 5 minutes. And then tomorrow I can have even a longer stretch. It's learning to notice when you're in the pattern and then shorten the refractory period. I think I said a whole lot of stuff right there. I don't know, but it felt like it was really coming out. So
well, and I want
sorry.
to back you up actually, because you guys have so many things that you're offering, and it's a lot, but you said something about, they may read one of the chapters in this book and they could say to themselves, okay, I'll just try this today. And that's it right there. Like if we just keep it right there, I'll just give myself permission to try something new and just give this a try. And then I think Darby said it, but it's all of you are talking about it. Detach from the outcome. Detachment is part of sacred medicine. It's part of understanding that everything happens for us, no matter what outcome is coming our way, right? And just get back into the practice, like Lynn said, as fast as you can, back to the practice. Amazing gifts. So, okay, so Darby, follow that up then with what do you want to offer the listener as that little stepping stone?
I'm going to hitchhike on to what Lynn was saying, and it does go, my hint is to, the moment you open your eyes in the morning, think of something you're grateful for. And it could be the sun coming in the window, or it could be the rain, because the rain is now helping things to grow, right? And bringing the colors back into nature. It could be looking up at your ceiling fan and saying, I'm so grateful that I have a ceiling fan to keep me cool when it's going to be in the hundreds. Or it could even be if you look up and you see, so many times like we'll look up and we'll see the dirt on the ceiling fan and we'll go, oh, I need to dust that. Instead, look up and look at the dirt and go, I am so grateful that that dirt is there, because that meant that was another 10 minutes I got to spend with my children, right? Or I got to spend that doing something for me. So wake up with your focus on something to be grateful for. And that one little step changes the direction of your day.
How have you been in my house looking at my ceiling fans anyway? Like, I don't know. All right.
I actually think they come with dust. I think that's part of it.
I think so too. Okay, Doug. So you're gonna close us out today, Doug, on this question. So what do you want to offer that person who's listening, who really is still stuck and they just need the one little stepping stone today?
Well, I'm going to first follow up on what Darby said. I used to do a practice. I don't need it as much right now, so I don't do it on a regular basis. But when I would do mundane chores like mowing the lawn, I would go through the alphabet and think of something by every letter that I was grateful for, starting with A through Z. And it's amazing when the sun is beating down on you and you say, I am grateful for this sun. It will change you. And we talk about sacred. I believe everything is sacred because everything is brought to us for a reason. So if you start to find the sacred in everything you do, when you, I like to garden. So when you've got your hands in that dirt and relish it and experience the sacredness of that dirt or the plant or the water that's going to nourish that plant. I mean, it's just another way of showing your gratitude. But find the sacredness in everything and stay in the moment. We rush through our lives so much. I was a hairdresser for 42 years, And I've recently retired, and I'm learning to slow down and really experience every moment, and find the sacredness in that. So I think that would be my advice: to slow down and appreciate, find the gratitude, find the sacredness in that dust, in that ceiling fan.
Okay, I want that hairdresser who combines a chanting over my head with the haircut. Like, well, I think we got something here, Doug. Like, we need to do this. All right. Oh my God, that's so awesome. So everything is sacred. You're so right. You know, you're making me think of, so I love my animal spirit book, my animal spirit medicine, or whatever that one is called, by Farmer is the author's name. Yes, thank you. And what you're making me think of is the fly in my kitchen. Well, that's sacred. So I just spin through my book and I look right. Like, I just look it up. And so everything to me, like, if it's really trying to get my attention,
Absolutely.
Yeah, normally you'd just be like, ugh, flies, and you'd be like swatting them. But no, I look them up in my book and look for the message.
And we're getting messages all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I get them in music. Listen.
Yeah. Yes.
Listen to what's out there, whether it's the visual or auditory.
Yes, perfect place for listeners, funny enough, to stop there is just listen. Listen to what's vibrating with your heart and soul, getting your attention, trying to get your attention. Really, really nice. To all of you authors, amazing experts and teachers, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
Thank you for the beautiful opportunity.
All right. So
to you and to Jen.
Oh, yes. Jen Piceno, thank you very much for bringing us all together. And you guys are going to get to enjoy all of us together on September 8th, because you're invited to our live stream book launch party at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. Please come and join us. We're going to have all of the authors there to share their wisdom and inspiration. And we're going to have a cool prize giveaway that day for book purchasers. And then I want to not forget to tell you one other benefit that Jen is offering is her Mystic Circle Facebook group, where you guys can come actually rub elbows with these authors, ask them questions about something they said today, continue these conversations. It's so fun to have people to play in this sandbox with, especially in topics that you aren't used to talking about, right? We can't wait to talk to you about all of these amazing things and the sacred medicine that is in our lives. So lastly today, everybody, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So what if that thing you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It's time to be brave. See you next time, everybody. Bye, guys.
Thank you.